very happy that I am here for another time. Maybe this is my 10th visit in Jan Mitros Center. I met Jan in 2002 in the opportunity of a World Congress, and believing that medicine and culture can open the frontiers and give the ability to cooperate, not like politicians but like doctors, I propose Jan to exchange some visits. Jan came in Athens first, then I came here, and there started a cooperation and lifetime friendship. I became his best man in his marriage, and this friendship stay alive and continue. I have to say that that I have seen today overcame the expectations, my expectations. Jan is not only a great doctor or a great surgeon, but he is innovator. He is a person who can change the icon, the picture of your medicine, and you have to feel proud about him. I will start with some pictures from our early cooperations. My first visit here in 2003. Later on, we cooperated to create the Eurasian Bridge Society. This is the first Congress in Athens. And later on, we had many events, happiness, friendship, a part of medicine. And as I said, lifetime friendship and cooperation all the time. And in the opportunity of this meeting, I would like to show this slide in memory of two members of Eurasian Bridge. We lost them last year, Professor Loras in a bad accident, and Sami Kampani from Syria. I would say that the patient's material is changing. Now we have to treat a lot of high-risk cases, 1/3 of them beyond 70 years old, atherosclerosis of aorta in 13%, many redo cases, 30% diabetic patients, and all the time most high-risk patients in our practice. Therefore, we have to be ready to treat them. About my personal experience in off-pump, I have to say that my interest was led by the sense that the most disastrous consequences in the classic bypass procedure are generated by the use of CBP and the manipulation of the aorta, especially in these high-risk patients, which was later on confirmed in literature. Started top camp in 1997 at the Onassis Cardiac Service Center. In 2001, founded the Cardiac Surgery Department at the Hervé Benin Hospital, and focused from the beginning on off-pump aorta non-touch technique with the use of arterial grafts. The need for more peripheral anastomosis led me to the inspiration of the pie graft. From the beginning, I realized that the off-pump demands special training and loyalty in the method. It cannot be part of a surgery practice, but you have to be totally devoted to the method. May estimate the natural flow of diseased vessels, avoiding competition. And there is a great choice of suitable point of anastomosis. This is the procedure that I was worried about, this dissection or stroke from my beginning in off-pump surgery to partially cross-clamp the ascending aorta, which is pulsative, not empty. And later on, we have seen in the literature many studies like this one, in which you can see that no-touch aorta has a very low incidence of stroke comparing with devices, anastomotic devices, or clamping the aorta. And here you can see in a recent study by Zhao that avoiding the classical procedures in classical CABGs, you can reduce the possibility of mortality in 78%. In OPCAM, using anastomotic devices in 66%, and in OPCAB with partial clamp 66, and anastomotic devices in 52%. This superiority was proven with other studies, and the state of the art today is to use off-pump, because that proven the most appropriate method in high-risk cases in coronary surgery to avoid, as I said, the manipulations on the ascending aorta, and to use at least 2 internal mammary grafts because of the superiority of them in the long-term results. What is the PI graft? It's a method which combines all of these 3 innovations following the natural way. In all organs, as you know, or in parts of our body, there are 2 or more circuits to supply the blood in order to be safe if something happened to some one of them. The heart and the kidneys are the only organs with 1 circuit, and in the other hand we have 2 kidneys. The heart is the only organ in which there is 1 circuit and has to supply blood in all the body without having any additional circuit. And the inspiration was to create a secondary circuit to supply the heart additionally, using the income of blood of 2 mammary arteries, or even of 1. And therefore, I can say that PI circuit is an arterial circuit which, using preconstructing opposite grafts, sequential anastomosis and extensions, and based on the natural flow of 1 or both hemas, can be connected with the diseased coronary circuit, and can be used in cases that all of the peripheral targets have severe and similar stenosis. Otherwise, there will be competition flow or some other problems. If a peripheral target has moderate to severe stenosis, a separate graft is placed on the ascending aorta if it is not diseased, venous or either one, provided that is healthy. We published this idea from the beginning in 2002 in the Annals of Thoracic Surgery, and we present today our experience of 3,517 consecutive isolated coronary bypass cases from 2001 to 2016. It's one surgeon's experience, and this is the frequency of stroke in another study. This is the material, mean age 67, about 6-7% above 80 years old, octogenarians, 32 between 70 and 79, a huge amount of not young patients. Female, only 13, obese, diabetes 33%, peripheral vascular gene 1 to 10 of the patients. 8% of emergencies, operative use of intra-aortic balloon pump in 2.3 of the patients. Chronic renal failure 6.3, on dialysis 1.6, previous stroke 4%, redo 5.1 of the cases, COPD 7.1. This is the injection fraction, 7.3 lower than 35%, 27 between 35 and 50%. You can see in our technique that we use many of pre-constructions. We use for left-sided revascularization the known T or Y graft or a trifurcation using both mammaries. Also, we use the mammaries to do sequential anastomosis, and we extend sometimes the grafts using vein graft or a radial or the distal lima for rima. Here you can see some sequential anastomosis, like here in diagonal LAD, or here in medial LAD and then distal LAD. We don't like to do, especially in young patients, endarterectomies, if it will be possible. And the triple sequential using the lateral wall, using the left mammary, a T graft here. And here is a reoperation. The patient had 3 vein grafts. Here you can see the left mammary, and we have done a bifurcation, a T graft. Using the 2/3 of the right, in off-pump surgery is very easy to measure the grafts. Here you can see side-to-side anastomosis to the diagonal, and then measuring the graft, we can correctly size and go to the LAD. It's a sequential anastomosis of the main branch of the T graft. We leave the other branch for later on. First, we will extend the proximal 1/3 of the right mammary with radial, and then we will revascularize the inferior wall using this extension. At the end, we separate the lateral wall. This is easy because the rest of the heart was revascularized and the patient is stable, and we anastomose the other branch of the T graft to the lateral wall in obtuse marginal. Here, that was the classical use of in situ arrangement. Sometimes we use the cross arrangement when the LCA is healthy or totally occluded without any need for revascularization. We need the rima to LAD and the lima to the lateral wall. And sometimes, if the right branch, right coronary artery is totally occluded or very severely stenosed, we can include the right to the system. As you have seen, we have done a bifurcation. The most important thing in coronary, off-pump coronary surgery is that you can estimate the flow of the vessel when you open it, and therefore you want to avoid the connection in the pie graft of a branch with a high flow, because in these cases this is going to disturb the system. Here we are doing side-to-side anastomosis to the obtuse marginal using the other branch of the Y graft, and then we're finishing with the anastomosis of the T graft to the inferior wall. Here is another arrangement, the Greek lambda graft. In this arrangement we use half of the free left right mammary to create a T-graft to go to the lateral wall, and we extend the lima in order to reach the inferior wall to revascularize the RPD. And in some cases with very small targets, especially in diabetics, in order to increase the total runoff of the system, we create a bridge between the diseased arteries, and we lead this bridge the flow of the other mammary. In this way, in our practice, we had 2.8 distal anastomosis, including the single bypasses. 2.5 were arterial anastomosis. All saphenous vein grafts that were used were proximally anastomosed to an arterial conduit as a branch, as an elongation, as I said, in order to avoid any aortic manipulation. These are the arterial conduits, 0.98 liter in all cases. Almost everyone received the left mammary, and 0.71 the recta and 0.25 the radial. Here is the distribution. I don't like to show details on that. 2 arterial conduits, 62, 3 arterial, 1 in 20%, 3 in 15, and only 1, and some cases 4 and 5 and 6 in 5 cases. This is the postoperative complications. Acute kidney insufficiency 4.2, AF 19, pulmonary problem 6.5, 1% reopening, 1.3 post-EAB. The mortality 1.11, 30 days mortality. Stroke only 0.4, and acute myocardial infarction 0.26. No one from CVA analysis suffered stroke CVA event from 0 to 4 postoperative day. 5 to 14 patients had a transient attack, and 9 to 14 had a permanent. Here is the stepwise logistic regression for postoperative CVA. Variables were diabetes and peripheral vascular disease as expected. And here is the frequency of stroke predicted, 1.5, observed 0.5, ratio 0.3. Stepwise logistic regression for early mortality were AIDS, dialysis, emergency, female gender, and peripheral vascular disease. Stepwise logistic for early mortality had a cut point beyond 70 years old. For postoperative CVA, pulmonary complications and PVD, and for postoperative MI, aortic anastomosis, BMI, and pulmonary, cut point lower than 26. In conclusions, the P-circuit is a method which can be safely applied in almost all coronary cases to successfully perform an aortic myocardial vascularization, provided the team will be, as I said, totally devoted on the method and has the experience to do that. Risk factors for stroke are generic and intrinsic to the patient, not related to the surgical technique. The frequency of stroke is threefold lower than the expected one, reducing more and more the prevalence of these catastrophic complications. Thank you very much.